Hey everybody, I've got a video here for you today. Now I thought now would be a good time to make another video about the Sphinx and its original form possibly being that of Anubis. This is a thing I've talked about in the past on a couple of videos. I know some of you really like these videos. I still smile at some of the comments that were left on those videos. But I've had some questions, comments, some things sent to me recently. So I thought I would just do another video, and the main thing people want to know is the main reasons why I think this and why I don't think some of the other theories that are put out there. Well, I think it's important first of all just to do a little bit of reading, and I will leave these links below. It says this: Anubis is the preeminent god of cemeteries and embalming, and hence the preeminent agent of resurrection. And there are other things, deeper meanings that connect Anubis to resurrection, but it says he is the preeminent agent of resurrection. Now, what is the true alignment of the Sphinx? The Sphinx is aligned to the rising of the sun on March 21st, the day of resurrection. Anubis and the alignment of the Sphinx could not be more directly connected. That is reason number one why I think the Sphinx was Anubis in its original form. The alignment of it being a lion in Leo, that could be possibly right. I like that theory originally. But the fact is, ancient people made alignments based on one day. And it makes sense with it being aligned on March 21st, one day, not 1,000 years of a general alignment to a constellation. So I think the true alignment of the Sphinx, which you can't argue about, is on March 21st, the day of resurrection, and that directly connects it to Anubis. Now let's read a little further. It says this. It says, Anubis plays a dominant role in the resurrection in the earliest Egyptian afterlife literature, the pyramid text. And if you look about between the 4th and 5th dynasty or so, on the pyramid text, it refers to the main god of the Giza plateau of Rostau. There are other names for it, but the main god of that sacred area was Anubis, and then around the 5th dynasty it gets changed on the text to Osiris, and then later on down the line it gets changed to Horus, and the Sphinx is directly connected to Horus around 3,500 years ago in the 18th dynasty. But the very earliest main god of the Giza plateau was Anubis, and that's why he plays a dominant role in the resurrection in the earliest Egyptian afterlife literature. And the pyramid text are the earliest works we get, and it says this: Thus the king has gone down into the tomb as a jackal of Upper Egypt, as Anubis who was on his belly. And that's utterance 412, and utterance 677 says, Your shape is hidden like that of Anubis on his belly. And Anubis on his belly is not these images we have of Anubis. Of course, Anubis on his belly is this, which is the exact posture of the Sphinx. Now, the king going down into the tomb as Anubis, it talks about this in the pyramid text. It says, Thos, hasten, announce to the gods of the west and their spirits, the king comes, an imperishable spirit, masked to the neck like an Anubis, chief of the western highland. So it talks about the king being masked as Anubis on his first transition in the afterlife. And who is Anubis? He is chief of the western highland. And what is the western highland? It is the west side of the Nile River, and the only highland is the Giza plateau on the west side of the river in that area. And what else does it say? And that verse has also been interpreted as this: This king comes indeed as an imperishable spirit adorned with Anubis on the neck, who presides over the western height. So here it actually says Anubis, he is at the western height of the Nile River. On the west side of the Nile River, the western height is Anubis. But does it say anything about Anubis being a monument? Well, in this utterance it says this, to say, wake up for Horus, stand up against Set, and this is the story of resurrection, of light overcoming darkness. Raise thyself up as Osiris, like the spirit, son of Geb, his first, and stand up as Anubis, who is on the, and then there's a word, and that word means shrine, who is on the shrine. So the pyramid text talks about a shrine of Anubis that is at the height of the west side of the Nile River, and that can only be the Giza Plateau. The ancient Egyptians are telling us what the Sphinx originally was. And what does it say on some of the earliest depictions in Giza? Well, this is the Giza Masaba, and what does it say? It says, a gift which the king and Anubis, lord of the sacred land, give, that he might travel upon the beautiful way, having attained a ripe old age, one revered before the god. So here in Giza, they're talking about Anubis, lord of the sacred land. And how is Anubis depicted? Well, as you can see here in the upper left, Anubis is on his belly, just as in the pyramid text, depicted this way, just the posture of the Sphinx. You know, they don't talk about the great monument of Anubis just because it was, they didn't have to talk about it in that day because everybody knew what it was. But there are hints, there are certain hints you can take from the pyramid text that tell us exactly what the Sphinx was in its original form. Now, it also says Anubis was, besides Lord of the sacred land, he who is upon his secrets. It also said he guarded the imperishable stars. Now, what are the imperishable stars that Anubis guarded? Well, of course, those are the pyramids of Giza that are in the shape or the form of Orion's belt. Those are the imperishable stars that Anubis guarded. Everything tells us that Anubis was the Sphinx. Now, I know of no lions that are connected to resurrection in the afterlife, and I believe the Sphinx and the Great Pyramids there, it's all part of one plan, and Anubis makes perfect sense with the pyramids of Giza. The pyramids of Giza represent Orion. The Sphinx is directly connected to the dog star Sirius. The two of them together make sense. The Great Pyramids represent Orion, the hunter. What hunter wouldn't want a guard dog or a hunting dog right next to him? That makes sense if you want to look at it that way. But everything tells us from the most ancient Egyptian text what the Sphinx was and why it was Anubis. And I was made aware of this picture by a person, and I will leave their links below. But I thought they did an excellent artist rendition of what the Giza Plateau looked like a long time ago. And once again, I will leave that person's links in the comments and the description. But everything from ancient Egypt talks about the large shrine of Anubis that guarded the secrets of the highest point of the western Nile, and that was the Giza Plateau. I think this is what it very well could have looked like. Hope you thought this was interesting. You have a nice day.